Okay, so do we have mic on? I think we have mic on. Let's use. Okay, do we have volume in other places? No, okay, so we have volume here. Let's play the game.
I feel like this might sound pretty harsh, but yeah, this guy definitely deserved to lose his job after making this mistake. The video that you guys just watched shows a man working in a cotton factory. We can see there's a bunch of cotton surrounding him. He's attempting to open up this bag, and he reaches into his pocket and pulls out an object that we can't quite see. A few seconds later, the cotton catches fire. He tries to put it out to no avail, and then he tries to just dive and swim his way out of the cotton while it pretty much just goes up in flames. Now, I am going to be straightforward. This information is probably not going to benefit you, and it's probably information that you already know, but nonetheless, this video has been kicking around for the past 5 years, and this is an incident that took place back in 2020, supposedly in China. The guy seen in this video was working to unpack the cotton. He was having a hard time, and instead of using his hands, he decided to use a very bad shortcut. He took out a lighter and was burning the plastic to make it easier to pull open. Well, using the lighter, as you guys could imagine, lit the cotton on fire. Cotton is very flammable, and that is what caused this whole entire fiasco. Without a doubt, this guy was fired because who would ever have an open flame around cotton? And fortunately, nobody in this video lost their lives or really got too injured. That being said, I do want to say on occasion there are instances where people will accidentally start cotton fires, specifically through static electricity and small sparks. There are CCTV videos out there. This one, for example, shows a man exiting a work truck filled with cotton, and his shoe causes the static spark that lights the whole thing up in flames. Fortunately, this guy was okay as well. The real point that I'm trying to make here, if you work around flammable materials, do not have an open flame there, do not smoke, and also, this might be overlooked, don't wear clothing that can cause a static spark. That's all. This should be common sense. As always, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section.
The double?
Just crack the fool. Let me hit that, family. Hey, what's going on? What up? Let me smoke some too, homeboy.
You can play with it. Just be careful, girl. Yeah.
Why my boy?
I don't want to get my drink on.
Have you ever been with the Samoan goddess?
Right here is one of Louisiana's most
Half a
prolific
day,
child
homie.
predators.
Oh, what
He
up,
is
man?
a serial.
Later. I'll eat my way out of here if I have to.
Hey, homie. Come on, man. Pass me the
Jimmy.
joint.
People think of the wildest things. Many of them I never would have
Let me
thought
get
of,
it
and I
straight,
personally
family.
find that a lot of fun to get to hear these wild questions. Here's a good one from
I keep my
Chris.
man
Chris
dripping in
wants
the
to know,
dark.
Jimmy,
You
why do
Give me some
humans
blood, relative.
take so long to be
They don't build them
advanced
like
just
you in Samoa.
recently with agriculture, medicine, economy?
For me, but I'm not showing
What's
any
up?
CPU load, so.
Oh no, if we in the eschaton are given our infallible
What's
bodies,
cracking,
and
fool?
the New Jerusalem in essence becomes
Can
our
I get a
planet
drink on that?
Krypton, can you postulate on what we will do in the eschaton? Saints are
Hey, what's going
generals
on?
in God's army, but what will our missions be? Will we go and evangelize the universe of fallen
Damn,
creatures?
the bitch did a
If
There you
do
go.
so, will Christ
Yep.
have
Oh,
to
there you go.
incarnate on that world to
Now
save
turn.
them? Or
Oh.
will we have been made gods?
Can you
Or is
see
that
it
a
now?
blasphemous
It's
thing?
tough if you can't see
If
it.
we do,
Wait.
hypothetically, have to incarnate for them, would our infallible
What's
bodies
happening,
change
man?
to the alien form
There
we
you go.
Give
Straight
me a
at
incarnate?
you.
drink of that.
Or thus we become aliens
Forward.
only until we go to the next world? Or, if only
Just stop.
Christ
Let me
can do
swallow
the
too.
incarnating,
There it goes.
I like my
saving
kids
would
buff like
would
you,
this is
Nah.
stuff.
Hey,
Now remember,
homie.
you back
Speak
up
for a
to turn.
respectable hoe?
It's
Telling me to be
tricky. You
We're gonna
got
have
it.
to.
You got it.
What's up?
Okay, oh, okay.
Yep.
I'm getting cross signals. All right, I'm just going to continue reading it because it goes on and on. So the basic idea is, although I'm sure Jimmy will have to help with the terminology of infallible
Hey,
bodies a little
dog.
bit.
What's
So
up?
You
if
better
after
pick
we're
up around
dead,
here soon.
we rise, we are in our glorified bodies. What do we do?
Yeah.
And what are the possibilities as we go to the rest of
Yeah.
the universe?
Sometimes you go too far.
Evangelize the rest of the
Oh,
universe. And
come on.
by
That was pretty
incarnate
tough.
What's cracking, fool?
Damn,
It
you
went
been
right over
doing
the
some crunches
carpet.
or what?
as aliens. So
Can I
the
get a
last part of
swig
the
of that,
question
man?
then, or if only
Hey, what's
Christ
going
can
on?
do the incarnating, saving
Good girl.
would be,
I see
there
you.
What
are
up,
already
dog?
millions of
I need to find out
incarnations
what
of
year it is.
Christ and his form in heaven adjusted to whatever creature he is interacting with.
All right,
That is
where am
a
I?
long and complex set of questions, but I leave it to you, Jimmy.
So we don't know what our missions in the afterlife are going to be. We're told that we will reign with Christ, but we don't know exactly what that's going to involve. We certainly don't know if our missions are going to be extraterrestrial in nature. They may just involve living eternal life and running the new earth. If we evangelize others, then, if we go to other planets to do evangelization, then we might or might not appear in their forms. We have some evidence that Jesus, in his glorified state, is able to change his form, and the evidence for that consists of for example, when he appears to the two disciples on the road to Emmaus and they don't recognize him. Now, personally, I don't think that the best understanding of that is he was in a different form, because it doesn't say he changed shape and then they recognized him. It just says they recognized him. And that suggests to me a different phenomenon, which is known as prosopagnosia. Prosopon is the Greek word for face, and gnosis is the word for knowledge. So prosopagnosia is not knowing a person's face. The in agnosia means not. So prosopagnosia means not knowing people's faces, and it's a real condition. It's it's also called face blindness,
Yeah,
and
what
it is
You
what
live where?
happens with
a
the
I live
neurological
joint.
issue that some people have where
camera
they can
Man,
shot?
see
why you trying to
perfectly
fade
well,
me?
but their brain is just not associating your face with your identity.
Okay. Let's look it
And
up.
it looks to me like what happened with the two disciples on the road to Emmaus is they had temporary induced
ETA
prosopagnosia,
screenshots,
and
we're gonna
then
say.
when Jesus broke the bread, that condition was withdrawn and they were able to recognize him. But, he's also God, and God can do anything logically possible. So I think it's possible for Jesus to appear in other forms, to change shape, or at least create the impression that he's in a different form. And we're told that we're going to be like Jesus, not in every respect, but in many respects. So I think that we might be able to appear in other forms to alien beings. There's even evidence that in the afterlife, in the intermediate state, the human soul can appear in different forms. It can project different mental images to living people of what it looks like. And so that's why, for example, when you have an apparition of a saint or a ghost, the saint or the ghost can change its appearance. For example, dressing in old-fashioned clothing versus newer clothing or something like that. It's also possible that Christ might or might not incarnate as one of their species. We talked about how last hour omnipotence, if
So is there no
omnipotence
screen? How do I
allows
look
God
at the
to
pictures?
assume an additional nature, like he's assumed human nature. Well, if Klingons were real, he could also assume a Klingon nature and redeem Klingons as a Klingon. But he may not do it that way. Aquinas talks about how God could have redeemed us in any number of different ways. He chose to use Christ's death in human form on earth to redeem us, but he might redeem aliens in some other way. Or he might not. He might choose to redeem them through an incarnation of Christ in their species, or he might choose
Pictures
to redeem them
taken can
through
be
Christ's
saved.
incarnation as a human. In which case the infinite
Well,
effects
how
of
do we
his
use it?
death might be applied to them as well for redemption. If there are other incarnations of Christ, then some of them may have already ascended to heaven, and so I don't see any reason that divine omnipotence couldn't have multiple incarnations of Christ in heaven at the same time, if that's
Okay, so
what
then
God
camera,
chose. What I
camera,
don't know is what choices God has made.
save.
That was a long, complex question, Zane. I hope you were satisfied with the answer. I appreciate the question. It's weird questions with Jimmy Aiken today. Well, it's time for the break, so we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with weird questions for Jimmy right after this. Welcome back to Captain Answers Live. I am Cy Kelly, your host. Jimmy Aiken is our guest, and it's weird questions for Jimmy Aiken. We got a whole bunch of weird questions for Jimmy. People think of the wildest things. Many of them I never would have thought of, and I find that a lot of fun to get to hear these wild questions. Here's a good one from Chris. Chris wants to know, Jimmy, why did humans take so long to be advanced just recently with agriculture, medicine, economy, infrastructure? What were we doing for 200,000 years?
Well, we were trying to survive, and that wasn't easy when you're not in a developed civilization. You're in a small tribal group, and you don't have advanced technology, you don't have advanced medicine, you don't have advanced food production. All of those things began to happen after in the Neolithic Age with the agricultural revolution, and that introduced a lot more specialization of labor into human communities where before maybe you had a leader and a priest or a shaman in your tribe, and they had some specialized labor, but most people, they all had the same job, being a hunter-gatherer. It might be a different set of duties for a man than for a woman, but basically there's one career path open to almost everybody, and so you couldn't go to a specialist to deal with a lot
Do you
of
shower
things.
in doo-doo?
You have specialist
Screw you,
teachers to teach
asshole.
your job,
Good
or
endo.
you didn't have specialist auto mechanics because you didn't have automobiles, and so
I'll warn you, I don't give
everybody
a fuck.
had the basic knowledge they needed to do their job, and
Oh yeah,
not much more.
Why am I
And so
you never seen no
they
gangsters?
also didn't have any way
Pass the
of
bottle,
passing
man.
on
Shit.
the information except
Man, don't be running up on me.
for
Stones with us.
So if you're going to train somebody, and here's how you be a hunter-gatherer, you know, you could
My
train your
heart
kids
don't
how
pump
to do
no
that,
sprunk.
but it's not like you could write
Playing with
it
me?
down. And so if you had
Good
some
looking,
extra
homie.
knowledge besides
Knocking you
just
out
how to
and
be a
smoking your money.
hunter-gatherer,
I know I'm
you
looking
didn't
too
have any
good
way
these
to
days.
pass it on except orally, so there's
Man,
a
you
very
spending
low
too much time at the
bandwidth
gym.
Hey, it's that
of,
fire. That's just a
of
damn shame.
I
communication.
got no juice with
After the
CJ.
invention of writing, which only occurred about 5,000 years ago, you could write down information, and it
Give me
could
some
live
dap,
on
homie.
after you. And that information could go and spread more widely.
You know, homie,
But
had
until
2
you had
bitches and
writing, you
lives in
couldn't do
peace.
that. All learning required person-to-person contact. And given the difficulties of survival, that and the difficulties of communicating and building storehouses of knowledge, those are key reasons why
Hey, what's
humanity's
going on,
development
man?
was so slow in the beginning,
What is this
because
shit with
life
smoking?
was so tough just to survive, and there was no easy way to pass on
That ain't how
information
families
except
dress. Yo,
by
my dog.
conversation one-to-one. There's also another possible factor, which is as human societies have grown more complex, and there may be
Send that
different
over
reasons
here.
for this, but as human societies have grown more complex,
What's
our
up, Holmes?
intellects have needed to also become more complex to deal with the greater social complexity. And so there is evidence that human intelligence has been rising
I gotta chill. I
over
didn't want
the
none of
last
this.
few thousand years, and it's
I didn't want none
quite
of this.
possible that there may
I
have
was trying to
been
chill for a
some
minute,
notable
man.
upgrades in human intelligence within the last few tens of thousands of years. And they continue today. We're undoubtedly, or very likely, to be smarter than our ancestors 4,000 years ago were. Now, that would also be another reason why progress was so slow in the beginning, if humans weren't as smart as they are now. So as the complexity of society increases, the human intellect also increases, and that accelerates the rate of change and the rate of technological advancement. So you have kind of a feedback loop, a virtuous circle that drives us towards accelerating improvements compared to what was happening in 100,000 years ago.
Chris, that was a fantastic question. Thank you very much for that weird question. Maybe the best name, the hour, Molecat asks this, or maybe Molecat. With admission by the USA of UFOs, what do we think about extraterrestrial beings, souls, evangelizing, origins, etc.? First of all, Molecat, you should watch a show called Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World.
Well, and specifically, they should listen to episode 55, which is where I go into all those questions. The answer is we don't have, the church doesn't have teachings on these questions. It's open to the existence of extraterrestrial life, and if there are intelligent aliens, then they would have rational souls the same way we do. They might or might not be fallen. If they might or might not need evangelization, they would be God's other children. They would just be additional people he made elsewhere. But we don't know anything about them, or even if they exist. So there are a lot of possibilities about, do they need evangelization? Can you baptize them? Which sacraments can you give them? And it can depend on their biology. Let's suppose they have 3 sexes instead of 2, and you need all 3 sexes to breed. They might have 3-person marriages. Or let's suppose they're monosexual and a single organism in their species can reproduce by mitosis. It can just kind of split itself in 2 and then regrow from there. Well, that species might not have marriage at all. And so there are a lot of possibilities. And if you want to hear an exploration of them, check out episode 55 of Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World. You can get to it by going to mysterious.fm/55.
And thank you very much for that question. No asks this.
Noah.
Excuse me.
I think about the doctrine of divine simplicity
in the afterlife. If God is not made of any parts, what are we going to see when in heaven? Or what is he going to reveal to us if he is so simple?
Okay, so we often talk about heaven as involving the beatific vision of God. Beatific means happy, so we're going to have a happy vision of God. At least that's how heaven is pictured. But what kind of vision are we talking about? Well, God doesn't have a physical body apart from the incarnation, so there's nothing there physically seen. So when theologians talk about the beatific vision, what they are imagining is not literal physical vision, where photons come into your eyes and get translated by your retina and nerve system in your brain. It's not physical vision, it's spiritual insight. So this is an intellectual vision where you perceive God's nature. And it may or may not involve picturing something. It may be a pure spiritual insight that does not involve any imagery. You just have an intense understanding of God and his perfection. On the other hand, though, it is possible that there might be imagery associated with this, in which case it would be we'd see whatever God wants us to see. God has used visions in which he appeared to have human form, and that means parts, so a hand and a face and things like that. For example, in the book of Daniel, Daniel sees the Ancient of Days. He sees God seated on a throne in heaven, and he would have seen him as a majestic king, and so it's possible that we might see, presumably with white hair, since he's described as the Ancient of Days, so he presumably, suggesting he's very old, and so that would be presumably represented by white hair and a white beard. And that's the image that God chose to give Daniel, to enable Daniel to visualize him. And God could do something similar with us, but he doesn't literally have parts because he doesn't literally have a physical body apart from the incarnation. And what we would see might involve parts, but it would just be a representation to help facilitate our interaction with God.
Thanks very much for that question, Noah. I appreciate it. I think I got time. I'm just checking the clock here. I'm going to do Susanna's question. We'll see. I think we can get through it. I heard that Lucifer's rebellion was that God revealed the incarnation of the Son, for which he refused to serve a man. Does that mean it wasn't revealed that God is Trinitarian? I'm assuming that because God is omnipresent, the Son is God and is man.
Well, it's true that the Son is both God and man. It's not because God is omnipresent. It's because the Son chose to incarnate as a man. If it was because of omnipresence, then we would all be Jesus because he's everywhere. And it's not the case that not every human being is Jesus. There is a unique relationship between Jesus's divinity and Jesus's humanity as opposed to your or my humanity. So it's the incarnation as a human, not omnipresence, that makes Jesus both God and man. The Trinitarian nature of God was presumably revealed to those in heaven, so presumably the angels, including the devil, knew about it. According to the story that you sometimes hear, and this is only one story, but according to the story you sometimes hear, the devil refused to serve because Jesus would add a human nature to his divine nature, and the devil, in his pride, regarded that as human nature as too lowly, and so he didn't want to give worship to Jesus through this lowly human nature. But I have to say, we're not told why the devil fell. It does not say that anywhere in Scripture. There have been different speculations about why the devil fell, but they are all just speculations, and so I wouldn't take any of them as the definitive truth.
That's a very fine question, Susanna. Appreciate that. Questions, Jimmy Aiken this hour. We got just a second before we'll take a quick break, then well come back with lots of questions for you.
We'd like to take a moment here to thank our patrons who make this show possible, including John G, Amanda M, Robert B, Peter H, and Lenora G. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World and all the shows at StarQuest. More than 90% of our financial support comes from individual donors like you, and you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World is also brought to you by LiverContacts.com, offering top brand contact lenses at always low prices with free delivery. Visit DeliverContacts.com.
Look where you
by
go.
the debut novel Holy Terror by John R. Doherty. Holy Terror is a gripping supernatural thriller where horrific crimes reveal an invisible war between good and evil. As justice is delivered through mysterious, otherworldly means, detectives and agents uncover a force far greater than themselves. Holy Terror is a bold blend of crime, faith, and the paranormal. You can find author John R. Doherty at johnrdoherty.com. And for those who enjoy audiobooks, Holy Terror is also available on audible.com. Subscribers to John's email list can receive a free copy of the Bible Study Guide Companion at authorjohnrdoherty.com/subscribe. You can find both links in the show notes for this episode on our website. Welcome back. Count Gansers live to real questions with Jimmy Akin. It's just a great way to spend Friday afternoon.
Not the car.
Set up. Set up.
Is in the spirit.
Oh, what you doing, my wheel?
Because it may not be one that's top of mind, but when I read it, I thought, I want to know the answer to that. Nicole asks.
Oh, that behind the camera and behind the car.
Spontaneous human combustion.
Oh, fuck
Is
you
there
too.
evidence it's happened? Be a possible explanation. So, spontaneous human combustion.
Come on, guys. Let's not go fucking totally postal. Completely postal. Thank you. Alright, little much, dude. Little much when they start just fucking ramming you.
They would be charred and oddly, the furniture, none of the furniture around them may have been burned up. It didn't like burn the entire room, just the person. And some of the body parts might still be there and not burned, like their feet or something would be left over and not be burned. So it's a mysterious phenomenon. The question is what causes it. And I think that we have a good explanation for at least most of the cases of spontaneous human combustion. First of all, there are a set of factors that tend to characterize the majority of the cases. The majority of the cases will tend to have three prominent factors, and there will usually be at least two of them in a given case. One of the factors is old age. A lot of the people this happens to are old. Another is alcohol consumption. A lot of the people this has happened to
Come on, guys.
have been
Come on, guys. Waiting on you.
And
Let's go, electrons. Come on, get through there.
Applies to many
Come
of
on.
these cases is
Come on, guys.
smoking. They also were smokers. And
Hey.
you put those together, and
There we go.
so
There
if
we
you're
go.
elderly, you may have mobility issues. You may not be able to just get up and run away.
See,
and
it's,
so forth.
as soon as it knows what you want, it's going to
If
start
you have
messing
an
with you,
accident
dude.
while smoking. Similarly, if you've been drinking alcohol, you may be out of it. You may not be aware when you have an accident smoking, and you may not be conscious, or you may just be on the edge of consciousness.
Come on, dude.
Happens.
There's
And
no
it
reason
could
for you to be
that you've
sitting
been
there.
drinking, you
Let's
go
go.
unconscious first, and then you drop your cigarette or your cigar or your pipe, and your clothing catches fire, and you're out of it. You're unconscious, so you don't run away.
Hey, what's happening?
And then what happens is, I hate to put it this way, but then you become a human candle. If you think about how candles work, they have a wick, which is the thing that burns, and the wick is driven by the wax in a candle. And wax is a kind of fat. Essentially, wax is a fat that's fully solid at room temperature. And so it feeds into the wick and burns. And eventually, and because of how candles work, if you think about it, you light a candle, it's going to consume wax, but it's not going to catch the whole room on fire. It's just the candle itself, but not everything around it. And so you essentially become a human candle, whether you're disabled through old age and/or alcohol, and then you have a smoking accident, and your clothing becomes the wick, and your body fat becomes the wax, the fuel for the fire. And over a period of hours, just like a candle can burn for hours, you burn like a candle without catching the entire room on fire. And maybe little lower parts of you, like your feet, get left. But that seems to explain the majority of cases of so-called spontaneous human combustion. It only appears spontaneous because nobody's there to see it start. You know, because the person who is there dies. That seems to explain most of these cases. Having said that, there are also reports of some cases where an obscure chemical process or metabolic process within the human body heats a person up unreasonably and might even lead to spontaneous human combustion. So it would be related to obscure chemical processes in the body in some cases, but that has yet to be scientifically confirmed. So I think the old age smoking alcohol trio is responsible for those cases, but there may be some cases with unusual metabolic processes involved as well. If you'd like to hear more about all that, check out episode 149 of Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World on spontaneous human combustion by going to mysterious.fm/149.
Thank you very much for that question. What show would be complete without a spontaneous human combustion question? It's weird questions for Jimmy Akin this hour. This one comes from Steve. What's the evidence that humans mature earlier in life in Christ's time?
Well, it's going to depend on what you mean by mature, depending on whether we're talking about social maturity or biological maturity. It may be the case that we mature biologically early today, and that would be due to better diet and nutrition. On the other hand, people in the past did mature more socially early than we do today.
You wrecked my shit!
No, this is in
Institution
there.
of being a teenager
Ran right into you, bro.
could be this in-between time, number of years between
Stop pulling the camera so low, dude.
people in the past were either children or adults.
Look at that. Stop. You blind me, man, when you do that. I can't see shoot.
Responsibilities, options of adults. And so, as to why people
Gotta fight the camera.
mature socially early in the past, I would say it was a combination of reasons. One of them is life was much harder. So people needed to go to work and do stuff at earlier ages, and accepting of responsibility.
No, it's constantly pulling the camera down behind you. Gotta wiggle it. Gotta keep wiggling it. Gotta keep control of the camera. Whoa, dude. Whoa, easy there, please. Come on, don't get angry. Startling.
Responsible in video games and stuff.
No.
Also
Come on. Oh, I hear you. Yep, I hear you. I know the excuses you're using.
end up being functionally
Yeah, tell me I'm wrong. I got you.
parents were going to let you play around the house playing video games.
Yep, I know.
They were going to let you play around the house playing hard games.
Yep.
People did have games in the past, and you were expected to go to work and assume responsibility and get out of your parents' house and become an adult. Not get out of your parents' house and become an adult in cultures where
Anchor.fm. All right, more of these weird questions for you, Jimmy. Oh, I like this one, Marianne. Thank you. This is grounded in possible short-term future here, the near-term future of humanity. Marianne wants to know the moral implications of joining an expedition to colonize Mars or other planets, knowing that there would be no access to any sacraments indefinitely.
Well, we can look to the past for information about this question, because this has happened before in the age of sail. When people were crossing oceans to colonize new lands, we can look at what they did. And there have been cases even before the age of exploration in the age of sail, where people would go on business journeys that could last years, military expeditions that could last years, and they might be deprived of the sacraments for a long time. And the church did not prohibit these things. So,
Oh!
to receive communion once a year, and we have communion responsibility to minister to
screw you!
responsibility to confess our moral sins once a year, but we're excused from that if it's physically impossible. So if there's no priest around, you can be do it. And there have been people on trips, commercial, military, what have you, that would deprive them of the sacraments for lengthy periods, and the church didn't say you can't undertake such trips. So what happens if you do? Well, if you commit moral sins, then you need to be careful, and you want to make acts of contrition to reconcile with God before you're able to restore connection with the sacrament of penance. You then ultimately want to confess, what you did, but you can wait until you have access to a priest, but you can be reconciled with God even before you're able to go to confession by an act of perfect contrition. So you want to do those. You also
Whoa, what happened?
not want to just head out if it's a colony without any priests. You want to take priests with you. That's what people in the age of exploration did. They found a colony somewhere, they bring priests along with them. And I would expect that early on, maybe not on the first colonization flight to Mars, but very early on, you would have Catholic priests who would volunteer to go to Mars and to be dispatched by their bishops as missionary priests on Mars to minister to the Martian colonists.
Big car, bro. Sorry.
The church usually is pretty proactive in thinking
Or
about
cow.
these things. If somebody's thinking about priests, I've got some priests
Whoa.
who like to send. No, that's not right. That's not the right spirit. But
for example,
Man,
ships.
a lot of hours of driving. Get your driving skill up, huh?
Ships to minister to the Catholics on a ship. And if you're taking a whole bunch of people to Mars, you would expect as long as there's some Catholics there, you would expect priests to go along too.
One ministry that I've always loved that we have as Catholics is we have priests who are for people who work in circuses and carnivals. And their ministry is to the people who work in circuses, and then they'll travel with them. I think that's cool stuff. So, Marianne, good job.
I want to see a fire-eating priest.
What's his day job when he's out there with the carnival?
I want to see a priest do the human milking.
All right, this one comes from Mark. Mark asks, if Christ made a visit to all continents together with Joseph, Mary, and the apostles, just like a papal visit before he was crucified, would become Christian?
Well, it depends on what Jesus does when he goes to a place. And there actually are claims that Jesus did go to other places. Now, you'll find some New Agers who say that Jesus went to India when he was young. There's no evidence for that, and really, there's no good evidence for any of these claims. But we do have claims. Mormons, for example, claim that after the crucifixion, Jesus came to the New World and evangelized Native Americans, people who were in America, and they started a church, and it lasted for a few centuries. you'll also find some people in Britain who claim that either before or immediately after his ministry, Jesus came to England and came to the island of Great Britain, and they'll say it was connected with the tin mining industry, and that Joseph of Arimathea was in the tin mining industry and would go to Britain for commerce, and he would bring the boy Jesus and or the Virgin Mary along with him. And there's even a famous British song called England's Mountains Green, which has a lyric that says, "And did those feet in ancient times walk upon England's mountains green?" Well, the feet they're talking about are Jesus's feet. And so you have these British claims as well. Now, there isn't good evidence for claims that Jesus lived anywhere other than Israel and Egypt, and Egypt only briefly when he was a toddler. But it's going to depend on what happens there. In the Mormon account, he did found a church, but it didn't last. In other accounts, like the British account, and the Indian account, he did found a church there. So if he went someplace, even taking Joseph, Mary, and the apostles with him, and they evangelized and founded a church, well, depending on how long they stayed there, the church might become established and might last for some period of time and might even last to the present day. But that's not the timeline that we live in, where he didn't make a world tour of all the continents and set up churches everywhere. Instead, he made a tour of Israel, and actually, I guess now that I think about it, he also got up in Syria, like when he met the Syrophoenician woman, and went to Tyre and Sidon. But he stayed in that little area of Israel and the surrounding territories, and then he let the 12 apostles go elsewhere and found churches. But he didn't have a first century worldwide evangelistic campaign. If he did, it might have had the success it has would depend on the two factors of how much grace God gave and how humans responded to that grace.
Mark, thank you very much for that question. It's Weird Questions with Jimmy Aiken. A bunch more to go, so on we go with Seth's question. Did Jesus have opinions, such as having a favorite food or favorite color? Would these be the results of random biology and environment as he grew up?
So I think the answer is presumably yes. Jesus did have opinions of like, I prefer this to that. I think that would definitely be, I'm not sure that would be the case with favorite color, because not everybody has a favorite color. I don't really have a favorite color. When I was a boy, my favorite color was green, but I think I picked it because I thought it was cool and because everybody had a favorite color at that age. But as an adult, I don't really think of having a favorite color. I do have foods I prefer, and which foods I prefer is a
Come on,
combination.
everyone's got a
of
favorite
at
color, dude.
least
You're just not in
two
touch
factors.
with
One
yourself.
is habituation. What is
You
available
need to paint
in
your house more.
environment.
And you'll find your favorite color if you paint more stuff, bro.
This
That you have to live around in.
a memorable way some years ago when I was over at the house of a friend whose family was vegetarian. And so I'm there. My friend is there. His wife is there. They've made a vegetarian meal, and they have two daughters who are like 1 and 2 years old, or 1 and 3 years old. They're very small children. And I see these, and they've got this big salad for us to eat as one of, the elements of the meal. And I see these 1 and 2 year old children reaching out and begging for pieces of lettuce. And it's like, okay, I know I'm in a vegetarian household where the kids are begging for pieces of lettuce, because most people would not view lettuce as the most appetizing, delicious food.
Yeah, baby.
But it's actually kind of bland. but that was what was available to these kids in their environment.
No
And so
snack.
that
You have
became
to
what they
wait. We
wanted.
just had breakfast
We
like
tend
an
to,
hour ago.
of the food we have available to us, we tend to like
No,
certain things
no dinner.
and not other
You
things.
can have snack, but it's going to be a little while. You're bored. You want me to get some of your toys out? What do you want out? What do you want me to get out? Your what, huh? Your hat gamals? All right. You put mine in. You put mine in. You get the yours. Pretty good. Oh, just for the baby. Your Hatchimal army.
Things. And this actually tracks, to go into matters of science for a moment, this actually tracks with aid. I don't know if you ever watched Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but
Sometimes,
they have this, the race, the Ferengi, the merchant race that has the ginormous ears. Well, there's an episode of that where I think it's Quark, who's a Ferengi, is talking about Ferengi children, and he says, "Oh, children, everything they pick up goes straight into their ears." Well, okay, that joke is based on the fact that human children tend to put things in their mouths.
Right.
And puppies do the same thing. That's how they explore. That's why puppy biting exists, is because puppies are using their mouths as a tool to explore their world and get a sense of things. Well, humans do that too by sticking stuff in their mouths. And so very early, parents are often amazed at, my kid will put anything in his mouth. And then after a few years, the kids become picky eaters, where there is a narrow range of foods that they will consume, and they don't want to try anything that falls out of their normal range. It's all chicken nuggets and hot dogs and pizza. Well, why is that? Well, the answer is, when we're born, our bodies do not know what part of the world we're going to be living in, because humans can travel. You can be born in any part of the world, but you've got the same human biology. That means you don't know what the local food plants are when you're born. So you need, as you get weaned off milk, you need to be receptive to eating anything, whatever is available in the local area. But there are probably things in the local area that are bad to eat, that are poisonous, or would cause, gastric distress. And so you also need to be guided by your parents in what is safe to eat locally. And so what happens is kids are born with an initial openness to eating anything. And then, as they learn from their parents what the local cuisine is, they become rigid, and they don't want to eat anything that's not in the local cuisine because it might be dangerous. And so that's why they go from being super open to super picky as they mature. Well, so Jesus was born in the ancient Near East. Mary and Joseph would have brought certain foods to him that were common, and he would have had the same process that other children do as they mature, and selected certain foods as his favorites. He also, so that's the first factor, is food availability. The second factor is biology. Now, humans pretty much all like sweet things, because sweetness is a sign that it's filled with carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are a source of calories. Humans also like fat. Fats are flavor enhancers because they trap the aroma and taste particles in food and intensify it. That's why you add fat to all your recipes to make the food more flavorful. So certain basic things are programmed into us biologically. Incidentally, cats, they don't have taste buds for sweet.
Look where you
Because
going!
they're obligate carnivores, and meat is not sweet. So cats don't care at all about, is something sweet. They can't even perceive it. But humans can. We can digest carbohydrates. We're omnivores rather than obligate carnivores. And so we can taste the sweetness to tell us this is a good source of carbohydrates. Now,
Cane's
there
food.
are more particular references is, though, and presumably those are a matter of what I personally have habituated myself to. And it may be also, the things I eat the most or the things I've habituated myself to, and so I do prefer those things because I'm used to them. But also, presumably, I have inbuilt biological preferences that vary from other people's because of my genetic code and the way my genes manifest. And so it's very likely that and what allergies I have, things like that. Some food preferences, like some people will say, I don't like that food because it upsets my stomach. Yeah, well, I have that. A lot of root beers will upset my stomach, and so I like the taste of root beer, but it tends to upset my stomach, and so I like to avoid it. And other people, may not like a food because it upsets them or gives them hives, or it may affect them in a way they're not even consciously aware of.
No,
But it
that's what happens too. And then we mix and then move around. It makes it even more difficult,
Right
I
to the
believe.
end. That weird question, only mildly weird question. Lots of great weird questions. If you've got one you want to send
The
to us,
challenges
you
of
can send it to
Empire, bro.
radio@catholic.com and forward those on to Jimmy. Or if you have another way to get in touch with Jimmy, as many people do,
Pay
on the
attention.
internet, go ahead and send it to him.
Just flagging as a weird question, so I'll know what bucket to look at.
All right. Yeah. Say, hey, Jimmy, I got a weird question for you, and then give it to him. Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World, mysterious.fm. Jimmy, thanks. I really enjoyed these 2 hours.
My pleasure, me too.
That does it for us. We'll see you next time. God willing.
Now we turn to our mysterious feedback brought to us by our feedback coordinator, Rob Leonardi. This feedback is coming from episode 373 on the JFK assassination hearings. And our first feedback comes from Ben H. on our Discord community. It says, to a degree, the conspiracy theories were right, but there are still plenty of conspiracy theories that remain unconfirmed. This is also assuming you believe what the interviewers are saying, but if even part of the testimony is true, it's just further proof that what the CIA was able to get away with was absolutely wild. I feel like they were clearly a rogue agency that blew off any sort of authority and seriously needed to be reined in. The rest of the world knew what the CIA was doing, but the CIA was very good at covering up their actions when presenting themselves to the American people. We can only hope that they have, in fact, been reined in, at least to some degree. A lot of what they did in that time still has serious, mostly negative impacts on our relationships with other countries involved today.
Well, I certainly agree that the CIA has caused a lot more trouble than benefit in many cases. And if you're interested in reading the history of the CIA that focuses on some of the problems it's created, you might want to check out the book Legacy of Ashes by Tim Miner. This is a book I've read a number of times, and I plan on using it, among other resources, to do episodes specifically on the CIA in the future.
Martin Cornell 7998 on YouTube writes, as a JFK assassination history decade-long enthusiast, these hearings were unfortunately very disappointing. I did research, and correct me if I'm wrong, no new allegations or evidence were provided. Just
they want as much of that kart racer. Get off me, bro.
Or have I overlooked anything?
What a game is 20 years old, dude. You want to play a kart racer. You're out of your mind.
The U.S. Congress, and the U.S. Congress is a body that has
You have to compete with the classics, dude. That's what happens.
The claims here is that
I don't, yeah.
as it is,
You gotta compete with the classics. Oh!
body that has the ability to carry this further.
Anna Gaga 2001 on YouTube writes, what were the immediate and long-term effects politically of JFK's assassination? Canadian here, so forgive my ignorance.
Yeah, well, I guess I can cover that briefly. The JFK assassination had profound impacts on the industry long term. In the interim, Lyndon B. Johnson managed to avoid us getting into a nuclear war, which was good, because that easily could have happened after, almost 1962 and 1963 assassination. obviously did. And so, like Kennedy, presidents have been praised high and are considered one of the presidents today. What they did, their record is robustly positive. It's been so that was a short-term effect. The Kennedy assassination was the post-assassination canonization of the president, and then that allowed Andrew Johnson to get what is now assessed in the Kennedy assassination by portraying them as
God dang it.
Kennedy votes. It's absolutely need to implement these things now unless Kennedy's going to be unfinished. And in some cases, Andrew Johnson was implementing Bruce Byrne was implementing Kennedy's ideas, for example, rights protections and stuff for people who are African American. So Kennedy had anti-discrimination legislation that Johnson ended up carrying through, and that generally did reflect the interests of President Kennedy, and that was a good thing. On the other hand, there were other things that happened as Kennedy wanted this, but that wouldn't necessarily solve Andrew Johnson's Great Society which troops to get welfare in the United States that actually implemented in the long term. He also similarly committed to fighting for the youth, which Kennedy had in its early stages. Kennedy was getting ready to pull the American advisor down, and Johnson reversed that course and implemented them. And so those are some of the sort of long-term effects of the Kennedy assassination. And then it builds from there as you move on to the extreme. But those are some of the effects that as a resident of Massachusetts, where the Kennedys are from, money consequences basically been for the next 50 years. If your last name was Kennedy, you can live in Massachusetts. The Kennedy family, especially after the assassination of that's why became that was the Vice of Ted Kennedy. Next is a senator. Yes. Jim Brooks, 4723 on YouTube writes, President Trump in his first term agreed to hold back two files on two CIA officers, George Giuliani's and Lee Howard Hunt. Yes, that Hunt, who leads the Watergate break-in. I was surprised that Hunt's name didn't come up. The other name not mentioned was Allen Dulles, passed head of the CIA, fired by JFK. The largest investor in Green Castro, Cuba, via United Fruit, hence lost more money than anyone else to the Cuban Revolution, as United Fruit owned the Cuban sugar refineries. He oversaw the careers very closely of Hunt, who was Dulles' personal assistant, and Giuliani's director of MK Ultra and a Dulles pet project. James J. Hamilton is mentioned, but neither Hunt nor Giuliani's ever had a working relationship with Hamilton during their careers at CIA. But both owned their careers and worked directly under Dulles. Dulles is one of the few Americans at the time who had the means and the motive to kill JFK. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Hamilton was a fellow Catholic which went to the war in 1963 and a personal friend to JFK. I think that would exclude him from suspicion. The names George Giuliani's and James Eggleton did the Kennedys. So lots of people that have talked about some sort of so much going on as a tax. You mentioned it. Claims that President Trump
sorry. Distracted.
James Jesus Eggleton, and his middle name is Jesus Jesus. He was actually raised, my understanding, is Episcopalian. paraphernalia. And he later described himself as a religious agnostic, so someone who wasn't sure about God but still had religious sentiment. My understanding is he was not actually Catholic. And now it's time to hear from you. Want to hear theories about these listeners' weird questions? You can let us know by visiting sqpn.com or the Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World Facebook page, sending us an email to feedback@mysterious.fm, sending a tweet to @MYS_world, visiting the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord, or calling our mysterious feedback line at 619-738-4515. That's 619-738-4515. And I want to say a special word of thanks to Oasis Studio 7 for the video and animation work in this episode. Check it out by going to youtube.com/Jimmy Akin. And there I have not only Mysterious World videos for you, but a whole bunch of other videos I also produce. So be sure and like, comment, subscribe, and be sure and hit the bell notification so you always get notified when I have a new video. So Jimmy, what's our next episode going to be about? Next week is our regularly scheduled Patrons Questions episode, only this time we're going to be hearing from patrons who went with us on our recent pilgrimage to Italy, and so you'll be hearing me answer their questions live, including about some of the amazing things we saw in Italy, like a series of chapels where artwork was made from the bones of human monks. Very good. Folks, be sure to share the podcast with your friends, write a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast from, and help us grow our community and reach more listeners. Get your very own Mysterious World t-shirt, mug, and more in our merchandise shop at sqpn.com/merch. You'll find links to Jimmy's resources from our discussion on our show notes at mysterious.fm/380. And remember, to help us continue to produce the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
LB Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline.
Of St. Augustine of Hippo, the Augustinians of the province of St. Thomas of Villanova released a video message from Pope Leo. In it, the religious from the United States presented him with the St. Augustine Medal. The presentation of this insignia took place in Castel Gandolfo. This is no coincidence. The parish of the Citadel is dedicated to St. Thomas of Villanova. The video they released is accompanied by a message from the pontiff. Pope Leo acknowledges what Augustinian spirituality has contributed to his personality. He also has words for his fellow Augustinians.
So much of who I am, I owe to the spirit.
I'm trying out for the MWF, homie.
I'm grateful to all of you for all the many ways your lives exhibit a deep commitment to the values of Veritas Unitas Caritas.
Pope Leo expressed his gratitude for this memory. He also thanked the order for all the work it does.
I see that. Taste your spit. Just give me a dab. In the pen, we play strip football.
Oh, that's good. Huh.
Oh, good looking, homie. Hey, pass the double deuce. Oh, yeah, homie. Pass the blend, dude. Yo, dude.
The Shinobi game took like a hit to kill him. So,
hey, let me hit that
this is telling me that we're going to see a whole lot of fucking dudes with fucking big old life bars in this game, which
I made that fool drink piss.
I went back and talked to my wife, and she didn't say.
Oh, what up, homie?
No, I understand. As much as I want to help, I don't want to hold you back.
Y'all backwash?
I know. I'll go to your house and protect
Snowcone. Had me on crystal meth.
It's too late for the other students.
Do a good job of it, too, by the way. Don't end up dead along the... Make sure my wife is...
Man,
if you can tell her to leave.
Hey, CJ. Hey, baby.
Oh. Oh. You got up early.
This tastes like... We ran a mission in East Beach. She looked like she worked. Give her, homie, something to drink. Hey, what up?
You want me to play with you? Oh, want me to play with you? What kind of crazy
Check
talk
that
is
high
that?
bitch.
figured it was 4 grams. I thought I would just kind of walk right past it.
What do you
Just
think
thinking
I am?
like it was part of the
Huh? I'm a monster. I'm a monster. You play with them kids. You don't look like. That look like.
Ninja was doing okay, and then he
No!
walked into fire.
I don't look like something that plays with kids. I'm your dad. Or what did that mean? I always play with you. You stripping.
I'm not sure how I feel about the execution thing.
Roll this piece
Again,
of
just
shit.
from the perspective of like, I don't want to sit there and care about a bunch of fucking meters. Like, every enemy has 2 meters. Like, I feel like that way about a lot of games that try to have like the stun gauge thing. That don't need it. Or like it just doesn't. The game doesn't always benefit from.
Can you get the crane for me, or is it
If
too
you flip
heavy?
this stun gauge, then you can stun them and do this. Right? Just kill them. Ignite enemies with a blast of fiery breath deals heavy damage. Enter ninja stance. Cast a fire ninpo.
First, you gotta do the coffee.
Ninpo are powerful magic attacks. By entering ninja
Right over here,
stance
baby.
and pressing a button. Each attack consumes a ninpo cell. Fill your cells by successfully attacking enemies.
Hey, let me get a swallow of that.
When I think about things I would want in a shinobi game.
What up, family?
Oh, you can't hold that. That's too big for that.
Oh, should be over $200, man. Hey, what's going on, man?
It maybe doesn't make sense because this game doesn't have lives, right? But I always thought it was cool that you could like just play. Then when you were very close to being out of life and you were gonna die anyway, you could just fucking blow yourself up. It would cost you life, but you wouldn't have to go back to a checkpoint or anything. And you could keep going.
Hey, pass the blunt.
Or if you were just crazy, you could just blow yourself up over and over again.
Put my cup in there.
It's a really weird way to play Revenge of Shinobi. If you, have already beat it a lot of times.
I was jumping.
Thank you.
Can I get my drink on? Hey.
Is to cheat and have infinite health.
Hey, this that
or infinite lives, rather, not even infinite health.
Yo, my dog.
I fell on the fire and just blow yourself up over and over again.
Give me some dap, homie.
Infinite health, infinite lives, whatever. Just the sign of every enemy, just blow yourself
perfect level with the freaking thing. Thank God. Thank God for physics, eh? Boom. Alright, press it one more time. It is kind of scary.
You gotta pass that, homie?
Seems like something I should go
tell, huh? It's kind of scary. Watch your face.
That essay put dust in my weed. You swole as shit, man.
Yeah.
Man, why you trying to fade me?
Okay, so I do have lives. I do have lives?
What up, homie? I'm gonna get me a happy farmer kid. What's up with you?
Why did it pop up with a continue screen instead of just putting me at the checkpoint? If I could hit those,
right there.
It'd be way easier to just hit them than it would be to just jump out of the way and deal with that. But
Speed.
Yeah, I like water.
Let's see.
Look at her. She's my kind of thing. Hey, what up? What up, family? Hey, baby.
That's it.
What?
Looking like a male model or some shit. Hey, what's jumping?
Make another fire instead of just one like killing you. I see.
Been kicking it with my Seville homies.
Oh, we gotta come back to that later, I guess, huh?
Alright, I just fought every press that button against it. And then you turn the whole thing. Yep. Yep. Press it. Yep.
Sick. It's with you.
Hold on, get right somewhere for yeah.
Steroids make your dick do what?
Thank you.
You look like that guy from that video game.
Yeah. That had to do.
Dark attacks.
This is. I'm walking back into the
Attacks are both uninterruptible and unknotchable. They can be identified by a purple aura around your enemy.
Nice piece of hoochie ass. Check the booty on that. In jail, we pumped iron and watched Weezer.
Jump here. Too busy murdering. You understand.
Look at her. She's my
No.
thing.
It's hard, yeah. Whatever.
What up, homie? Hey, baby. Hey, yo, give me that deuce juice.
That's a nice little image there.
What up, cat?
Baby.
These guys all got tropes, man. Ninja flip. Press R1 right after hitting an enemy to perform a ninja flip.
I'm a rusty brown donut eating gangster.
And you can attack during ninja flip. I feel like I'm doing that.
Why you headballing me, cat? What?
I love violence.
You got food, water?
Nice piece of hoochie ass.
These Santos bitches can't see me.
Check the booty on that.
Your attacks and abilities fill execution gauges by various amounts. Unite and heavy attacks are two of the best ways to fill an execution gauge.
Say, baby, it's me and you.
Big and buff.
Hey.
Oh, you can't speak now.
Ain't she the one? Look at her. She's my kind of thing. Them white boys had me on crystal meth. So check it. Listen to my check.
Dude, so hard that. This feels a lot better and just mechanically interesting than Rage Bound. Rage Bound kind of did it for me.
Let him up.
Happy Ah, you so calm.
now.
Asshole.
Yo, Carl, see you around.
Fuck they doing over here anyway? Punk ass police.
Those nosy motherfuckers won't leave me alone. Think I'm Mr. Big or something. But I don't tell them shit. For me, it's all about my homeboy Carl.
Yeah, whatever you say.
The gang is real important, CJ. You know that. You down to represent, baby?
Yeah.
Look, my cousin is coming in town from Maine. I got to go scoop her up.
All right, then. Come on. What you want me to roll with you for anyway?
No reason. I just wanted to get in the carpool lane.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man, just cool out, homie. Just chill.
Your cousin coming here from Mexico.
Yeah, me and her go way back. Way back.
Ah, Smoke, you full of shit.
Don't be prejudiced again in my presence, Carl. Everybody is my cousin.
So if you looked on the map first, eh? Got lucky, I guess.
Slow it down, loco! Give me one more time.
Okay, my cousin Mary's in there. Sweet, sticky, bud fresh off the plantation. Here, pull up here, let me do the talking.
Man, I should have known.
Hey, excuse me, Jose. Yo soy el grando smokio, and I want that grass, comprende?
Hey, fuck you, cabron.
What?
Now that ain't nice. Coffee-o up El Guido before I blow your brains out all over the patio.
Chinga tu madre, pendejo.
Man, let me get the heat
Fuck
on
this, man.
Fuck this. Get him, Smoke.
Yeah, go get that shit now. Get him, what you talk about? Yeah, motherfucker, Big Smoke. Remember that name. We gotta stick with him. I ain't built for this shit.
You want some puto?
You don't look like you need this no more. Hey, guess what? It's low.
What shit?
Took me straight.
I need such a hard time.
Fantastic! You hit me!
Oh, sorry, bro.
Damn, that's it. Come on, damn it. Cabron! Hey, man, who's this stupid puto on the road?
I think I can get enough height to quite get up there.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity.
Charlie, puto.
Got a little
Watch
bit of
it.
a run on that wall climb.
I'm gonna take him.
Yeah, I could get them both in that murder state and murder them both, but what if I just took them out of the, off the play field completely? That's just a fortuitous thing. Don't mind me. Throwing them to throw them. Throw them if you got them, right?
Man, get the step.
Do you think this gray looks nice?
You blocking my ball. I'm waiting on traffic to move.
I'm crouching. Hello, I'm scooting at you. What do you think about that?
The police are everywhere today.
Just hitting switches, my ninja.
Watch it, man, watch it.
Cluckety fuck. Place your order. Enjoy a doodle-doo.
That was really silly. Oh, God. And it can get you into some trouble. This is Ninja Star gun practice over here.
Come on, Chip.
Ah, you so kind. Somebody tripped. Huh? What?
All right, me and him head up. What shit you reppin',
Little
huh?
guy is getting his drink on. I need this more than you, I think.
Whoa!
9 to damage. Oh, heavens. Awesome.
I'm supposed to give you a hand? Where's my grin? Where's my grin?
Jutsu stance. Okay.
I have never seen any shit like that. Hey, I take that paper.
This is a lot of, this is kind of a, to have the weird, like, okay, hold L1 to get into this stance, but if you want to do the crazy shit, hold this button to get into this stance. Maybe one stance too many. I might say.
Charlie!
See if you can use the ninjutsu to affect the range gauge on the upper left corner of the screen. Refill the rage gauge by taking damage or collecting rage orbs.
In the pen, we play strip football.
How much of this game is connected? Like, is this... Did they make a search action
Stay
game
cool.
here? Can't open from the other side. They did, didn't they? We kind of made a search action game here, didn't we? Look at this. I probably can't do anything with that, right?
You enjoying yourself?
And then whatever the fuck is over there.
Your stupid ass out the boat.
Weird. But like it also talks about stages and, you know, like
Give me that.
different squads in each stage here, so I wonder if it's probably a case of like, is it a bunch of individual maps as opposed to one big contiguous map? Like here's this area and like I'm guessing once you finish the stage, you finish the stage.
I like to share too, thank you.
You can't necessarily travel backwards that way, but oh. I was fighting that guy, then I got shot. Yeah, I know, it's fucked up. With a gun? No, with a gun. And then a guy with a blow gun. Yeah.
That's very kind of
It's
you.
a bad day, is what I'm saying. Well, anyway, as long as my wife is okay.
I know I'm looking too good these days.
That was intense, bro.
What are you guys doing up here? Ninja stuff.
I shouldn't have eaten that top.
Real strength isn't
Gotta
pushing.
take back Obelot.
It's truth. When there's no pain, there's more gain. Advil targets pain caused by inflammation or fast, strong relief. Advil, that's real strength.
Just like Dark Souls, we opened a shortcut. We'll never have to do that again. Oh.
Hey, baby.
Thinking about a switch that's up there.
What's up? Yo.
I don't know. I hit the switch and it just made 4 ninjas appear. Kind of messed up. So this is the same lady again, or are there just multiple of these and they all have the same voice? It's weird. Oh, okay. Now a bunch of people are talking at me. Sure. Ah! And just like, dude, you almost shot me.
So he built an arch, and then what?
Yes, there's something about her calm demeanor as she speaks that is extremely Hades coded, if you will. Found a relic. Man, they're leaving these things everywhere. What you got watches?
Taken up rooms or something, was it? Well, he's fucking things up forever. Even us yokai. He's been going around and flipping our guys to his own team. Can you believe it? So I figured it's in both our interests if we strike up a little deal. How's that sound to you? I've had my eye on those Obero clan relics for a while now. You start bringing me those, we can trade for all sorts of things. So, do some business?
So you're buying combo expansions and stuff. That's cool. I was thinking like, man, it's kind of weird that there isn't like just a light, heavy, quick bop bop, but there it is. Oh, armor damage on a knee roll. Huh. Gate the next enemy attack and instantly strike back. Great for charging execution gauges and deals heavy damage to armor. So what? I enter the. So it has a parry, but it's a knit pose. So I have to like enter the stance and then hit the button, like time the button press, right? I'm curious to see how exactly that works. Have to equip. Okay. Yeah.
So I have to like stance up and then anticipate.
They learned to talk in secret a long fucking time ago, bro. That's the, what do you call that? Backdraft or whatever from the system. Your system. You think we're all fucking stupid? Slave speak.
You've got smoke-free satisfaction.
Slaves must learn to speak in a way the master cannot understand.
So, I can finally show something. What do you know? Just got back from Tokyo.
Are you the CEO of the BBE Corporation?
There's nothing left in my way.
They're families over there, I think.
And my wife and her son, don't forget. They're fine. They're alive. They're doing good.
Family before family, Jeff.
How badly do you want to hear?
Family before family.
Stop at nothing to ensure.
Warrior Ape! Hand me my Choco Taco.
Joe Musashi, leader of the state of Goron. Farewell and best of luck. Down. Destroy your dojo. Desecrated a sacred grounds. Killed every last one of your students. And now, I'm going to wipe out the Ogre clan entirely. Prepare to die.
Or is this the prologue and we die here and then the son is born and we play the rest of it? I guess there are options about how this story could go. I think I parried there, but I don't know that I.
I'm gonna play for you, little man.
Oh, that hit pretty hard there. What do you think about this? How does this grab it? Wait, what happened there? Teleported, and then I thought he was out of health. But I guess not. I'm unclear on this water thing. If I need to hit the button to do the parry or not, because that parry happened in that fight, and I was trying to ready it to do the fire, and it and then later on I did it manually and just kind of popped it. This moving background is really fucked up because it seems like my guy should be moving off screen. Instead, it's just like the entire world is spinning around you. It's really
fucked up.
Yes,
Like
it
we're
is.
living inside of a Tekken background. Wait, roll, man. It's pretty hard, man. And I'm not using the full.
God, man, take a shower.
Yeah, me? Look at you, pathetic bitch.
I'm still young enough to whoop you. Nice piece of hoochie ass. Give me
Come
some
on.
bud, relative. Your time here is up. Check the booty on that. You've reached the end of days. Look at her. She's you better not do that again. I'll eat you and spit you out.
Sorry.
Hey, baby.
You should run away.
Yo, my dog. Oh, my heart. Let me get a swallow, too. Get ready, fool. Dap, homie. Hey, I'm an old man. I'll show you how it's done.
Right, fuck it will be.
Show some respect, dummy. Ah. I eat dummies for breakfast. You smell bad. Known to my eye for you. Nice piece of hoochie ass.
Oh, you're too kind.
Check the booty on that.
I'm in that between zone of wanting to mash, but also not knowing what of the other abilities I have would be effective, and overthinking it, and yeah, just get fucked, man.
The train! I was nowhere near.
Fuck. Okay.
Oh! Look where you going.
You like an asshole always holding up shit.
Bring it on, dickweed. You want a hole in you, huh? It's the best you got.
You want something? I can't even masturbate anymore.
Still crack!
Hey, you falling fucking Martin.
Yeah, it's heat. What you gonna do now?
Take care of this.
Ah, you so kind.
There, I guess you're gonna have to go back to some of these stages, huh?
Hey, you papa. Get back here.
Despite defeating Rose's warrior raid, Sasha's efforts were before Jacob had a chance to save them, the village had been razed, and the warrior land was turned to stone. Rose's display of might was more than inhuman. It surpassed faith and humility.
Ow!
It was no time to believe something.
Oh, and...
Head to a 1024. Commerce. Not back around the in on break. Pick up. Flame. Destruction. Flame. Musashi.
What are you doing? Hey, it's OG Loc, homie, and I'ma kick a little something like this. Hey, yo, when I come through up in the place, you don't...
Yes. And they know. Need a gas station, though.
What's going on?
Which delicious meal would Sir like? Munch your way to bliss, sir. Do come back again.
They say living in Los Santos is the equivalent of smoking a pack a day. If that's the case, then I want a choice in the matter. So I chose Redwood.
I used to sell my body for drug money on the streets. Now I'm cleaned up and have a wife and go to church. And I owe it all to Redwood cigarettes.
Sometimes when I get really stressed out, I beat my children. Anything I can lay my hands on. Since I tried Redwoods, I find a way to relax 20 or 30 times a day. I know it's bad for me, but what's more important, me or my children?
Stress kills millions of people each year and causes divorces, automobile accidents, and even war. When stress is about to get you, get a Redwood. Redwood cigarettes. Proud sponsor of the LSC Marathon.
Sounds like you
Killing
got
me.
a nasty cough.
Yeah? No shit.
Here, baby. Try this.
Soothe?
Yeah, Soothe annihilates cough and cold symptoms.
Wow, I'm seeing donkey.
That's the
Hey, baby
patented
girl.
cough-killing concoction of codeine, morphine, and alcohol. Your cold will be history. How's your cold now?
Who the hell are you?
I'm your wife, fool.
Soothe kills a cough
I am
fast.
trying to
And
get
for
up
the kids'
this hill.
chesty cough, it's Soothe Junior, the medication that comes in a fun, animal-shaped container kids will love.
Hey, look at me. I'm original medication just like Dad.
Oh my God, he's barely breathing.
No, that's just the medicine doing its thing.
Thanks to Soothe, his cough is history. With Soothe, you'll forget you had a cough, your name, or where to properly go to the bathroom. Feel better fast with Soothe.
What the fuck's name are you doing?
Cock-a-doodle-doo, we're a huge corporation.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, and we can't be stopped. All you protesters can go to hell. It's time for the locking bell. From the factory farmer to your plate, the chicken's life is a sorry state. A pump full of chemicals, what the hell?
They even make my breasts swell.
Filled full of hormones so they get fat. At least we no longer slip in.
Oh, be careful.
Dad, I didn't eat dinner.
Not yet. Snack? Almost. You got 30 minutes. Ow. 30 minutes. And you can have a snack. So I'm going to wake up your bubs, too. Alright, watch it, girl. Ready to get out. Ugh. Here we go.
Often used to explain how evolution works. Well, if the fittest survive and we perish, then what you want is racial conflict. Because that's what will drive.
Oh, aren't you in your 40s? Not exactly ready.
Shinobi. Like,
Lincoln's mysterious world is brought birds that changed the environment so that the dinosaurs were no longer able to live in it. They were no longer. Of course, this is not only against the Christian ethic of killing, especially killing the innocents, it's also against the Christian belief in equality and universal love that we need to show to everybody, even our enemies.
So the evolutionary pantheistic, why do you say his religion was pseudoscientific?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One is he did entertain pseudoscientific ideas, even apart from the evolutionary stuff. For example, he was a fan of a guy named Hans Harbinger, who had something called the world ice theory. And Harbinger he was an engineer, and he didn't really base this on science, but he was looking at the moon one night and had a revelation that the moon is a giant sphere of ice. That's why it looks that way. And he, from that, developed the idea that the universe is bound up in a conflict between fire and ice. And that this conflict between fire and ice is essential to understanding human history and destiny and things like that. And Hitler was a big fan of this, even though some reputable scientists at the time said, no, this is nonsense. The moon is not a big ball of ice. We can tell that. I mean, you don't have to go to it. You can just, from the orbital mechanics and the size of the moon, you can deduce its density is not the same as frozen water.
Also not a giant egg.
It's also not a giant egg, yes.
Different show. Okay, so that part is pseudoscientist. What other unscientific aspects?
Well, his understanding of evolution is unscientific. That's why I would say he's a pseudoscientific evolutionary. He gets evolution wrong. One of the things about, and he got it wrong in a way a lot of people did and sometimes still do, this whole idea of a hierarchy of species is not scientific. It's kind of based on the social structures that people lived in back when society was more highly stratified, so you had nobles and commoners and peasants and all this stuff. And people lived in a kind of stratified social order with, king at the top, then dukes and duchesses, then, others. And so it was natural to think of the different species in that way. Also, in the 19th century, there was this big myth of progress, that we're making progress towards bigger and better things. And then we made progress towards the atomic bomb, and suddenly that got reevaluated. But in Hitler's intellectually formative years, there was this idea of progress.
This
that,
sucks!
like, evolution only
How can we
works in
fracture
one
the
way.
so bad? Tanner, you suck ass!
And by the fittest, Hitler seemed to understand that to mean, like, the strongest and the most aggressive. So the strongest and the most aggressive are the ones who are going to win the conflicts with the weaker ones. But that's not what being fit in evolutionary terms means. Right? It doesn't mean being stronger and more aggressive. It means being better adapted to your environment. So if you're adapted to your environment, you're fit to live in that environment. And what counts as fitness is not a unidirectional thing. There's no single standard for what makes you fit. As your environment changes, what's going to count as fit is going to vary. So, for example, the dinosaurs once lived on Earth, but then something happened. The most common it was an asteroid impact occurred that changed the environment so that the dinosaurs were no longer able to live in it. They were no longer fit for the post-impact environment, and they all died out.
You were in the way!
Because, let's say, the sunlight, there's a nuclear winter, the sunlight gets blocked, the plants they need for the massive quantities die out. As the herbivores die out, the carnivores die out, and their food chain collapses. Right. Because of environmental change. That then allowed our ancestors, the males, to move into those now empty ecological niches and start their own development.
Right. We certainly weren't stronger or more aggressive than the T-Rex or the other, as Jurassic Park shows us.
Exactly. And back during the war, there's all this worry about our environment may change again in a way that's not suitable for us. So we have a big nuclear war. Cool. The environment becomes too radioactive for us. All the humans die, but guess what? The cockroaches are the ones who are now fit to live in the post-nuclear environment. And they're not the stronger or more aggressive. We can easily step on and kill a cockroach, as I hope we all do from time to time.
So that's part of the unscientific. And is there other elements to that?
There are a couple. One of them is he neglected the role of altruism. So even though it's kind of puzzling in evolutionary terms to explain the origin of altruism in a rigorous way, you can see that there are benefits to helping weaker members of your group. That's why, and by doing so, you encourage their contributions. Right. So if you imagine a group of people and you say, we're going to kill everybody in this town who can't bench press 200 pounds. Well, you're going to kill almost everyone in the town. The economy is going to collapse because you now don't have other people making contributions. And so even though they were physically weaker, they were doing important things that helped the community.
Right. You can observe in nature that, like within species groups,
hey, baby
they
girl.
protect one another, including weaker parts of their community, like wolf packs and that sort of thing.
Exactly, and humans do the same thing because weaker members, and people are weak in different ways, but on any given spectrum, the people who are weaker in one area are to make contributions in another area. And so it's in everybody's interest to promote the group as a whole and not simply say, you're too weak, we're going to get rid of you. So he neglected the positive role of altruism. Also, his idea about race mixing is totally bonkers. I mean, imagine, so let's take this principle of you shouldn't mix races because they're in this hierarchy of better and worse, and you're going to dilute the better if you let them breed with the worse. Okay, why should that principle happen just on the level of races? Let's apply it on a smaller scale to families. Right. So only the best families can breed with each other. They can't breed with other lesser common families, which would bring down their bloodline. We've actually experimented with that in European history. Royals only being able to date royals. Yes. You know what the result was?
Mad King George?
Yeah, it was inbreeding. And all of the problems that flow from inbreeding. Because when you have a genetically non-diverse stock, everyone's genes are like everybody else's genes, you tend to get errors replicating and becoming dominant, so you get birth defects. That's why a lot of European royals had hemophilia. Same thing happened in ancient Egypt, as we'll talk about in the King Tut murder episode. Same thing happened among the pharaohs. If everybody's genetically similar and a disease comes along that can act on those genes, then the disease can kill almost everybody. So actually, you want a genetically diverse population. You were going to say?
There's another example, too. Like, just if you look at the Germanic peoples, they're adapted for a particular environment of Northern Europe. But, if they don't breed with other people from other places, Northern European folks, if they went to places that are, say, tropical with lots of sun, well, there's a weakness, which is they burn. Easily, skin, they get sunburned easily. I mean, that's right.
They're not as fit for that environment.
Right. Right. Okay, I can see that now. All right. So, pseudoscientific evolutionary atheist.
Though to the race mixing, which is so not just do you have inbreeding, but there's the reverse of that, which is a phenomenon known as hybrid vigor, where if you cross two things that are genetically dissimilar, the offspring can often be superior to the parents in one way or another. So it may have greater disease resistance or things like that. Actually, there's a famous example of that in fiction. I don't know that the writers were consciously aware of this. They may have just kind of stumbled into it. But Mr. Spock is an example of hybrid vigor. Because he's not just stronger than a human or smarter he's not like halfway between human and Vulcan in terms of his ability. He's smart even for Vulcan.
Right.
And he ends up having positive characteristics from both of his genetic parents, leading to him having hybrid vigor. And that's, you could say, well, that's fiction, and that's true, but it's a real phenomenon that's known in biology.
Right.
So diverse breeding, inbreeding actually does help.
So he's a pseudoscientific evolutionary pantheist. That's sort of where we
trying to save ammo.
Reason perspective, looking at his beliefs. From a faith perspective, what can we say about Hitler's religion?
Well, this will be fairly brief, but obviously he was wrong from a Christian perspective, and his pseudoscience led him into a pseudo-religion, because it was the thing that was driving this was his ideas about evolution and how it worked, and he was wrong about that. And so consequently that led him into this pseudo-religion. He ignored divine revelation, which would have clarified his understanding of, okay, there is a distinction between the creator and the creation, so it's not pantheism. Also, atonement is real, and Jesus did rise from the dead and all that stuff. And ultimately, it's an illustration of how right reason is in harmony with right religion. And if you adopt false religious ideas, it'll lead you into bad scientific ideas. And if you adopt false scientific ideas, it'll lead you into bad religious ideas.
That's an important lesson that continues. Without going into that, but yeah, that's an important lesson. So, Jimmy, what's your bottom line then on, given your decades of interest in this topic, what's your bottom line on Hitler's religion?
Basically, as we said, he was a pseudo-scientific evolutionary pantheist. He also was, to a degree, a political opportunist who partly withheld his religious views from the public and sort of mimed Christianity, but during part of his career. But he ultimately, even then, couldn't hide his hatred of Christianity and especially his hatred of Judaism.
So if people wanted to find out more about this, what further resources do you have?
I'll have an article that I wrote on this subject in the show notes, a link to Richard Weikert's book, Hitler's Religion. Also, there will be an article on Hans Vermeer's
Green means go!
we mentioned briefly on Wikipedia, and an article
Well, since you're twisting my arm, go on, take it.
Pius XII.
Those horns are
And also Wikipedia's page on religious views, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, Wikipedia protects sometimes for subjects to prevent them from being misconstrued. So you can trust those actually pretty well. And ones on the other are among the most protected. That should be a good read. Okay, so now we have our segment where we talk about mysterious feedback. If the feedback we mentioned we love to hear on our episode on the mystery of the multiverse. We're right on Facebook. This is an exceptionally good overview. I'm sorry, I'm misreading. This is an exceptionally good overview of the theories. You can use your credit card bills again. Provides a very clear line for the important rules of that.
Thank you very much, Robert. I really try to make things first for myself.
Hey, Loke,
so
I got what you want.
Holmes, you ice cold, dude.
Hey, I'll catch you later.
Peace, homie.
And then Marty sends us an email to mysterious@sqpn.com and writes, with regard to multiverses relating to possibilities and decisions, it's sometimes discussed as the decision spawns a new universe for the consequences of those decisions. I see it the opposite. And there's a hint in quantum physics.
7 minutes.
I also see this right with God's plan. Think of this.
7 minutes. Snack time.
Exist at
Yep,
the same
I'm about to log off here.
until the observation is taken, at which point the possibilities collapse into the observed reality. You referred to this in the episode. If that scales to the universe, the way I see it, all of the possible futures exist, perhaps what we conceptualize as multiple universes, until the decision is made, and those universes collapse into the reality based on the decision. God can see all of those universes, and thus all of the future ramifications of our actions, and he has the power and knowledge to know how he's going to work out his plan, no matter what our decision. Over time, as we progress toward the end of time, all of the possible universes that occur, all of our choices, bit by bit collapse into the reality that is achieved based on our decisions. At the end of time,
Don't try to hit me up with that ghetto babble, boy.
Officer Tenpenny, how you get my number?
Ways and means, you piece of shit. You been trying to avoid me?
No, sir. I just been busy, that's all.
You're not busy unless you're doing something for us, you understand?
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Nice to hear it, Carl. Call in to the donut place in the middle of Market. We need to talk.
completes God's plan.
So it's an interesting perspective, Marty, and since I can't say that other universes or timelines exist, I mean, I don't have direct evidence for that.
What's the holdup?
It could be well that you're right. On the other hand, I could, with his omnipotence, God could allow there to be other timelines as well. So I think it's ultimately still something that we don't have a definitive answer for, either from science or from faith.
me before going to bed. I find them very interesting yet relaxing. Until last week on the Diablo Pass. A little unnerving to say the least. Good to mix it up a little bit, though. I think this week's episode will be back to the mysterious world that I can handle. Keep on being mysterious, Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Heather. And I do pay attention to the topic selection. I want to ensure a mix of different topics. You'll notice that every month, for episodes we do in a typical month, I'll have like one that's related to UFOs or aliens or space. I'll have another that's related to religion or the paranormal, another that's related to history or science, and another that's kind of wild. So I'm consciously thinking about that. We will go into scary territory occasionally, including some true crime. But even then, I want to keep it family friendly, so we're never going to have like gruesome description.
He's so down for the hood, he ignore me?
You little thank you. I thank you. So the next is from a commenter on YouTube whose name is The Resurrection is Coming. It says the multiverse destroys free will. What do you say about that?
I like the jump.
Well, some versions of the multiverse would. If you say that there is if you take the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, and you say, okay, every event that can happen is caused to happen by God, then that would seem to destroy free will. But that's not the only version of the multiverse that exists. God can also say, okay, I'm creating the world, and I'm going to allow each new free will choice to branch off a new timeline. Well, then he's not destroying free will. Now, that may mean you don't get the same number of alternate timelines as if God forced every possible event to happen. You might have a somewhat smaller multiverse. It might still be infinite, but it would be a smaller range of infinity. Or it could end up being a finite multiverse with only, a Google plex of timelines in it. But there are versions of the multiverse that are compatible with free will. It's only if you say everything that can happen must happen in some non-random, non-free will fashion that free will ends up being destroyed.
And then T comments on YouTube, if there are infinite universes where every possible reality exists, then wouldn't there be at least one universe where there is some type of intelligent life that could contact all the other universes, and shouldn't we have heard from them? Kind of like another level of the Fermi paradox?
Yeah, I like T's reasoning here. I always love seeing new applications of the Fermi paradox. We did an episode on that a while back, and for folks who may not remember, the Fermi paradox is the idea that, well, if the universe is as old as it is, then intelligent life should have had a chance to contact us, like, exploring the galaxy. So where is it? And so T is proposing the same kind of thing. If there are all these universes out there, should one of them have colonized the other universes and made contact with all of us? It's some versions of the multiverse theory that would be an issue potentially, but there are also answers to it that are pretty reasonable. One of them, if you go back and listen to our multiverse episode, you'll hear a discussion of the different types of multiverses that have been proposed. One of them is type 1 multiverse. The idea is that the universe we live in extends infinitely, and what separates the different universes within it is the fact they're too far away from each other to ever be reached, because we're in an expanding universe and we can't travel faster than the speed of light. So there are other regions in our universe that are causally unconnected from us, because we could never reach them even if we traveled at the speed of light, since the world is expanding. So if light speed is a firm limit, then there would be no universes where someone figures out how to go faster than light in our universe. So that would be why they're separate and why we haven't been contacted by another universe. Something similar happens with the Type 3 multiverse, which is the kind of quantum splitting timelines version of the multiverse, because as physicists say, when one timeline branches off, it decoheres from the others. That's why people in one timeline can't experience what's happening in another timeline, and there may not be a way for people in one timeline to bridge to another timeline. It may just be a physical impossibility, like traveling faster than the speed of light.
You won't have room to play.
Interesting, but good thinking. I like to hear these different responses. So that's all the feedback we have for this week. Do we have some mysterious headlines?
Yeah, just a few real quick. One of them is a science fiction staple, building a space station in an asteroid. So we have an article, Science Alert, about scientists planning for the future, trying to figure out what would it be like to build a space station inside a giant asteroid. So check that out. Also, speaking of things scientists do, fortunately these days scientists sometimes dismantle nuclear bombs. And so there's an article about what do they do when they actually start to dismantle a nuclear bomb? How do you do it safely? How do you do it if it's not even your bomb?
I'm gonna play with that in a little while.
And don't have plans.
Your Peppa Pig
So
trailer?
interesting stuff there. And finally, aliens just caused the worst problems. And so we have a story from a California man who claims that aliens flipped over his van on the highway. So you can read
Like they're brand new again, huh?
aliens flipped
Awesome.
over his van, causing injury.
Yep.
Excellent.
Their RV, I know the church car. Yep.
Once again, to thank our
Camper van?
possible. And today we're going to thank by name several of you. Alfredo B.
That goes on the top, remember? Yeah.
Miguel, Donna P.
There you go.
Your generous donations at sqpn.com/give.
Good girl.
Make it possible for us to continue Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World and all the shows we do at sqpn.com. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So that's it from us. What do you think about Adolf Hitler's religion and what Jimmy had to say about it? Let us know by visiting sqpn.com or the Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World Facebook page and leave us some feedback there. You can send us an email to mysterious@sqpn.com or send a tweet to @mys_world with the hashtag of mysterious feedback.
Or just use hashtag mysterious feedback and we'll get it.
Yes, we'll be looking for the hashtag just to